What is up guys, it's Troy at the Full Setup here, back with another streaming tutorial video guide, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Rode Videomic Go 2 and a couple of awesome pieces of software that you can use with this now upgraded USB microphone. So the apps that we're going to be looking at today is Rode Central and Rode Connect. Now you don't just have to have a Videomic Go 2 to use both of these apps, they're also fully compatible with the Rode Videomic NT-G, the Rode NT Mini USB, the Rode Wireless Go 2 system, and the Rode AI Micro, which is like a tiny little audio interface with two 3.5mm inputs, and you can use those with both of these softwares. Now, Rode Connect is probably the one we're going to look at the most, and that is obviously the coolest one. Both of these softwares are free with your microphones, plus there's also the Rode Central. Now, Rode Central is just a place where you can sort of do firmware updates to those devices, plus there's a couple of extra features you can turn on. There's also an Android and iOS app for this Rode Central as well, which is quite useful, especially because on the Videomic Go 2, you don't have buttons for things like high pass filters and stuff like that as well. So if you wanted to record with that, also using the Rode, is it Reporter software? I've been trying to remember what that is so many times, telling myself I should have written it down. But also the Rode, I think it's the Rode Presenter, that's it. Rode Presenter software, which you can use for doing voiceovers on the move. Okay, so let's just start off with Rode Central. And it's a bit annoying really, because I don't actually really need it open right now. But there's one thing that I do need for it. So hopefully we see a firmware update with this, with Rode Connect. Okay, so the direct monitoring here, so like what I'm listening to right now, I'm plugged in to the Rode Videomic Go 2. I can't adjust that. And when you first plugged it in, I found it to be extremely loud, like what I could hear inside of my head. You know, my voice playing back with lower impedance headphones. In fact, it's probably a little bit too loud now. So it's really annoying that that feature's not on there. For my Videomic NT-G, it's not so bad because when you plug in the USB, it turns the dial on the back that you would use for gain when you're on your camera into your headphone volume, which is great. And obviously the NT Mini USB also has a headphone it has a headphone volume input on the front of it as well. So it's really annoying. Feel like maybe it's just a slight little oversight because I think it only affects this microphone, but yeah, would love to see direct input on here. Another thing I've also noticed as well is that when you slide this around on here or change any audio settings, sometimes the direct monitoring drops off. It's like it's about 10 or 20 dB less in sound. So if it does that, just come in here, turn the headphones off, and then just turn the headphones on again. Now there's a couple of extra things I can do in here. I've already got it engaged, but I can do a 75 high pass filter and also a 150 Hertz high pass filter as well. So that's going to cut out those lower bassy tones. There's also a 20 dB pad, okay, but I'm not going to engage that to now because it will go quiet. Then you can change the input level, which is also linked to, as you watch here. There we go. That's also linked to that one there. There's also a high frequency boost, which I'll just turn on for a second, but then I think we're going to get rid of it straight away. Now, a lot of people complain, I hear a lot of people complain on shotgun-based microphones about high-frequency boosts, the presence boost, that it doesn't sound that nice or you shouldn't use them and all this sort of stuff. And most people say that with most microphones. The reason you actually want to use that high-frequency boost is when you are outdoors. So if you were outdoors right now, you would probably have a dead cat on it, which doesn't come in the box. You have to buy that separately to reduce wind input and just, you know, wind reduction. But also what you're going to reduce there is the higher frequencies. They're going to come down. So the high frequency boost makes up for that. So as much as I wouldn't use it on the desktop app, it's certainly something that I would use outdoors with the Rode Central app on my Android phone. I have to keep saying, are you cool if you've got an Android phone? I really want an iPhone. I've wanted one for years, but yeah. So that's it, okay? That's just the Rode Central software. I'm still hearing it a bit too loud there on the monitoring. I don't like these. These are Sony MDR 7506s. I don't think they're that good, but it has got tons of power, the headphone output on this actually. I can plug in my DT990 250 ohms, although I'm going to stop using those because they're open back. So that should be leaking audio there. I imagine that's what they're doing. So yeah, going to stop using open back headphones for monitoring. Anyway, little rant there, mid-video rant over with there. Get used to me, that's what I do. So that's the Rode Central software. You don't get these features with every microphone, by the way. If I plug in the Videomic NT-G, all you get is firmware updates. There's no option. So yeah, that's a little bit annoying. So over to Rode Connect then, because to be fair, this is going to be the piece of software that you're most interested in. Okay, the Rode Connect software. Can we make it a bit bigger? So what the Rode Connect software is it allows for up to 4 microphones that you can plug in of that list that I mentioned earlier. And then you can sort of send these out to OBS, Teams, you can create a little mix. You also get 2 virtual inputs as well, which I'll show you all the audio routing on those in a second. So we've got system and virtual. And then you also get a soundboard as well. Cool. Yeah, cool. I'm not the biggest fan of soundboards, but I know people are going to really like that it's got a soundboard. This is almost like a mini Rodecaster. It turns Rode microphones into, and I think you can have up to 64 effects as well. You can change the volume on all of that sort of stuff. You can also record on this as well. You can record audio internally as well as record it to another app. So you've got a bit of a backup. Now you press this button here to get your recordings. I'm not going to press it because it actually drops the audio until you come back to the microphone, which is a little bit annoying. Now, when you first turn this on, there is a setup assistant. So all your microphones will be listed down here. And when you actually plug a new one in, you get a little pop-up flashing light comes on here. You can also, when your microphone is down here, say the Videomic Go 2, or if I have my NTG plugged in, I can double tap, I can press on it, and then it lights up on the side. This is obviously very useful if you're using 4 NT mini USBs and you're getting the right, putting them at the right places. And then obviously you can get the color adapters as well. So you can see what all the different ones are. So that's your first little setup there. You just drag your microphone in, and this will load when you install the program. So you don't have to do, come in there every time. And then also you've got available virtual channels as well. So we've got system audio and virtual. For the system and virtual, you don't really get anything other than, level controls here. But on the microphone, there are some cool extra options that you can do. So you can do that pad. Again, you can do the 75 or 150 hertz high pass filters. You can also do that high frequency boost there, which I think is just a bit too much. But then there's also a noise gate and a compressor. I'm probably going to be running an extra noise gate on this afterwards, because what I don't like about both the noise gate and the compressor, I really wish there was a slider for them. So I often like to set my noise gate so they cut out my breaths. I might do it on this video, I might not, but this doesn't quite do it. But if I am quiet, it will completely cut out the sound. So that's great. And you're monitoring all of these changes real time as well while you're plugged into the microphone. I can hear that noise gate is operational. You also have the compressor as well, which is just a basic compressor, but it's nice, to be fair. It does it just right. It doesn't tonally change your voice too much. So this is me now talking without, the compressor turned on. And I don't think it does masses of change. It's good. It's just about right. But, I think a lot of people just like a slider, just if you want it a bit more compressed, if you're a very loud talker. And just a noise gate a little bit more to cut out your breaths if you are a heavy breather. There is also an exciter and a big bottom. Okay. Now the exciter I prefer more than the high boost. It is quite nice, but it has a touch, although it sounds very nice and crispy, you are going to sound quite sibilant. So if you were using this, I would then probably add a DS of VST into OBS or something like that. Although it may sound very nice at first, it can become quite fatiguing. Now, the big bottom would probably be fine with something like the NT Mini USB, or if you're using like the little audio interface, so you're bringing in your lav mic. But I find that the big bottom is just a bit too boomy with a shotgun microphone. The thing is, shotgun microphones do have quite a, proximity effect if you're this close, because remember, they're sort of set to be like, a couple of feet away from you on a boom pole or something. So they do have a very strong proximity effect. So yeah, the effects are nice. It might be something if you want to just go out live to like Zoom or OBS or something. But for me and recording, I would rather just make these changes afterwards. Now you have got the gain level here, which you can set. So you just want to be in the green somewhere. I would probably have this dialed up a little bit more if I was going into Zoom or Teams. But again, because I'm recording, I'm just trying to keep it at those peaks around sort of 18 dB. And this gets me to that level. Okay. Now you can also monitor yourself. And there is a bit of latency there. I did find it to be less on my Mac, and then completely mute the channel. I didn't even talk then. I was just miming. And then again, you can adjust the volume here. There's also another really cool feature that I like as well, is that once you've set up your mix, which I'll show you all of that sort of stuff in a second, all the audio routing options, you can also, on the preferences here, you can change where you want to output your audio to. So I can also output audio to my DAC. This is really nice because once I've got a mix set up, although it's okay listening to stuff through the Rode microphone, through the headphone output. I've got some nice DACs and some nice headphone amplifiers, so I would rather listen to my game, listen to the stream going through that. So that's really nice to know that, you know, you can do that as well. And then also as well, it just helps you if you were using speakers on your desk. So if you've got the Rode Connect app open all the time, at least when you're not recording and not streaming, you can then send, you know, still have your speakers set up as well. So if I just set that to the SMSL, I'm not going to do it because my voice will start coming through it, but that will send output as well. Actually, no, it won't, because we've got microphones excluded. But then you can include the microphones as well. But again, there will be some latency. Ultra low I found was pretty much in time with my voice, but it just sounded very robotic and not natural. So anyone that's messed around with stuff like that, you know what I mean. You can change the appearance as well. Now the recording's really good because you can also record in multi-channel, which means it's going to record up to 6 channels separately. So then afterwards, if you wanted to do a nicer version of something, maybe if it was a Zoom or Teams meeting you're recording or podcast, you can then go in afterwards and edit every individual channel, okay, essentially. Or you can just record in stereo, but multi-channel is probably the way to go. So there's all the cool features that you can do with Rode Connect then, but how do you set it all up? How do you do all the audio routing? You know, how do you get all of that stuff working? It's super easy. So first, let me show you in the playback options here. So we have one called system output and one called virtual output. So system output becomes system input on here, essentially. It's just ins and outs, and it's hard to explain, but it makes sense as we get it all set up. So I've got my default sounds here set to system output Rode Connect. So whatever I do now on my computer, whether it's a game, a movie, music, playing a song, as we'll do here, you can now see that is coming out of the system output. Now we could also assign the music application to that virtual output. Maybe we could do that in Windows Mixer settings, but I think you want to be using the virtual output for having a guest coming in. So whether that's going to be someone on Discord, someone on Teams, any of that stuff. Now, the great thing about the virtual input is that it does have a mix minus on it, okay? So we'll explain the mix minus once we get over to the recording settings in a second, okay? So for the recording ones then, we have stream input, system input, virtual input, and the desktop microphone. So this is actually my Rode Videomic Go 2. And even if I plugged in my NTG, or if we had 4 mini NT USBs, all of those end up routing to this one system input, okay? That's where it routes all the audio to. From there, we can then take the system input then goes to stream input and virtual input. That's where it moves all of this audio about, okay? So let's just set up OBS then. So if we come into properties here, you can see I've got set that to stream input. So that means anything that's on microphone channels 1 to 4, system 1 and virtual 2 is going to go into the stream input. And that's how we get it all through. Now, when it comes to doing Zoom and Teams, you are going to set them to virtual output for the speaker and virtual input. So essentially what that's going to do is then my mic's feeding in to Zoom. And if we just did a test recording now and said, you know, this was the person on the other side. So this is a test recording on the person on the other side of this Zoom call. So this is a test recording on the person on the other side of this Zoom call. Okay, so that brings the audio through, and what it uses is mix minus. So then when that was playing back through then, you would have seen that the microphone wasn't moving. So that stops, you know, you talking to me and it going back around and causing a loop, but it's not perfect. The problem is with this is that virtual input also receives audio from system input. That's perfect if you're on a Zoom or Teams call, because, you know, you could be talking about something, or you could be playing a video and at least they can just listen to the audio, you know, a segment, just something to discuss about later, or you could just be playing, you know, like a really cool song and they're going to be able to hear it. But that's not good for Discord, because remember, we've got our game sounds coming in on system 1. So if we're doing a stream now, microphones coming through, game sounds coming through here, Discord's coming through here, but it's also going to send the system sounds. So what we actually use is we use the Rode system input. Okay. So that is this input. So we're just essentially just sending them the microphone. I don't think it sends it through with any of the effects, but even without the effects, you know, it's fine for just talking to your, you know, your friends while you're playing games. But what it's going to stop doing is making sure that your game sounds aren't getting played to them, because they don't want to hear your version of the game that they're playing, because that's going to massively confuse them in their headset. So that's just sort of how you set everything up. Like I said, I've got an extended video on this, on just all of the routing side. So yeah, that one's set to stream input, We've got Zoom and Teams set to virtual inputs and outputs, which means we can send them system sounds. And then for Discord, we just use that straight up system input. And I think that's about it. You know, I'm really impressed with this. Probably another good thing as well is if you were just sending it over to like Discord as well, you could maybe just engage the high pass filter here. Because like I said, I don't think it takes the effects on. I would probably have to do a little bit more testing on it. So yeah, the one thing I really want to see is direct monitor put on here for this microphone. Like I said, I think it's just an oversight. I'm going to send this video over to Rode anyway, so hopefully they get, you know, all of that stuff done. But for free software, you know, that comes with a mic that I purchased for my camera, it's awesome. Like I can do most of what I want to do here. And, you know, you could use this for streaming. You can use this for podcasting. It's a really cool piece of software. And I'm sure they'll add some more features and add more microphones to it as time goes on. I almost just want a little mini audio interface to go with this that can pair with this software. If you just did like a 2XLR microphone input, that would be awesome, which we can then apply those effects to, so we can just use our own microphones. I understand why you want it to work with all of your Rode stuff, but yeah, I would still have to buy that Rode interface, wouldn't I, to use those mics. Anyway, I'm just waffling at the end of the video. I hope it's helped you out. If you've got any questions, let me know. If there's any firmware updates in the future, I'm sure I'll come back with some more videos. Check out the loopback guide. Check out the other videos I'll be uploading on the Videomic Go 2 as well for £100. Super sick mic, and you know, maybe if you sold it for £80, it'd be an even better microphone. Anyway, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and I'll be back with some more videos very soon.